very important. I have many leather-bound books.
So I got that going for me, which is nice.
Now, here's Tom.
Good Saturday morning. Welcome to the Saturday Sports Page. I'm your host, Tom Schmitz, on a brisk, chilly Valentine's Saturday morning. Hope everybody came through Friday the 13th okay. I am here. I would like to say happy Valentine's Day to my lovely girlfriend, Jennifer Kirsten, though. She, unbeknownst to me, got up this morning. As I arose from the bed, she got up. I thought she was going to let the dogs, our puppies, out for their morning ritual to go out and do their business, come back inside. So I got the shower and everything, getting ready to come into work. About 8:25, I leave the house about 8:35 because I got to get here to get the Francois Cousinet show on. About 8:25, I came walking out in the living room to the aroma of an amazing breakfast she had cooked for me. She had had the eggs cooked, the bacon cooked, the toast going. So thank you to Jennifer Kirsten, and happy Valentine's Day. Hope you're doing well for your Valentine. Remember, I kid and joke all the time saying it's a day created by women so men will spend money, but believe me, it's an important day, fellas. Don't drop the ball today. I'm even going to help you with that. Voice of Ocala's Valentine's Day Heart Giveaway. This is from Goss & Son Jewelers. It's a sterling silver heart pendant, necklace and pendant. Sterling silver. All you have to do to register to win it, we'll have a drawing at the end of the show today. All you got to do to register to win it is give me a call now at 622-9622. I'll sign your name up, and you'll be in the drawing. So if you want a chance to win a sterling silver heart pendant to give to your significant other, courtesy of Goss & Son Jewelers in downtown Ocala, give me a call right now, 622-9622. You'll be registered to win the Voice of Ocala Valentine's Day Heart Giveaway. So give me a call, 622-9622 for your shot at getting something for your sweetheart, courtesy of Goss & Son Jewelers. I got a caller right now. Let's go see. Hi, caller. Who's this? Who's this again?
Hello.
Hi, caller. Who's this?
This is Ted Norris.
Ted, how are you today?
I'm great, thank you.
Ted,
Hope you are.
Have you done the things necessary for Valentine's Day?
I'm getting a double hearing. It's hard to understand. I'll listen to the radio. Go ahead.
Have you got all your Valentine's Day taken care of today?
No, sir, I haven't even thought about it.
Well, what's your phone number, Ted? And I'll get you. What's your email address? Well, Ted Norris, I'm going to take you off the air. Just hang on for me. We'll take a break, and then I'll get your email off the air so we'll know how to get in touch with you. So hang on for me. See, it was just that easy. Ted's going to get registered just like that. Busy day in sports today. There's a report out from the NCAA that they're looking into eligibility requirements. I'll tell you about that. Plus, David Moulton joined the show from 993 FM down in Fort Myers. And you heard about 5 minutes of that interview on Southern Pigskin, but that was a 16-minute interview. And it's really so good, I'm going to replay that for you this morning as well. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, David Moulton of 993 FM down in Fort Myers, Florida, he joins the show. And David Moulton's a very intelligent guy. He sits in the booth with Gary Danielson on the weekends talking SEC. He's the spotter, for lack of a better word, for Gary Danielson on the weekends for SEC football. And he's a very, very knowledgeable man. So we'll get to him after the break. But right now we're going to take a break. You're listening to the Saturday Sports Show, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. We're live and local. The Source.
Here in Florida, when you're looking to go to the beach, you've got hundreds of options. Theme parks? No shortage of options there either. But when it comes to home insurance, most companies have only one option. Allstate is different. Here in Florida, Allstate agents offer home insurance options from several companies, so they can help you get the coverage that's right for you. And they'll help you save on quality car insurance, too. For starters, safe drivers save 45% with Allstate. So before you settle for just one option, talk to someone with many home and car insurance options. Your local Allstate agent. Are you in good hands?
Hi, this is Kevin McDonald, your local Allstate agent. To get your quote, please call us at 622-2333 or stop by one of our 2 Ocala locations.
Allstate has no financial responsibility to you for any home insurance policy you purchase and would not be responsible for any claims. Allstate does not make any representations or accept liability related to operations of home insurance companies, including but not limited to their financial conditions. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Savings vary.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Goss & Son Jewelers has a gift for you, celebrating 65 years in business in beautiful downtown Ocala. Surprise them with a Tag Heuer or Rolex watch, or surprise her with beautiful pearls, rubies, or sapphires. Enjoy a sweet Valentine's Day weekend, courtesy of Goss, in downtown Ocala since 1950.
Guy Harvey Checking is now exclusively available at Gateway Bank. With Guy Harvey Checking, you will receive Gateway's premium checking account, plus several other Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation features, including membership to the Guy Harvey Hammerhead Nation, free Guy Harvey t-shirt, and an exclusive Guy Harvey debit card. At Gateway Bank, we will make a $50 donation to the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation for every new account opened. This is just one more reason why people choose Gateway Bank. Sign up today for your exclusive Guy Harvey checking account with Gateway. Details available at gatewaybankcfl.com, member FDIC.
Hi, this is Randy Briggs of the Briggs Law Firm. My son Bo and I practice exclusively in the representation of accident victims. And we've been asked many times why we would support and sponsor the program Ask the Cops with Sheriff Blair and Chief Graham, who are in the world of criminal law enforcement. Well, these legal rights actually overlap. In civil law enforcement, we're in the business of recovering for victims of accidents that which has been taken away from them and holding the responsible party accountable. Both civil law and criminal law share those common goals. So we're all in the field of law enforcement, and for that reason, we're proud to sponsor Ask the Cops on the Voice of Ocala with Buddy Martin. So if your family or a friend needs help in an accident situation, feel free to contact us at our website, www.The Briggs Law Firm. We're located in the Ocala Historic District.
Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Page. Valentine's Day Heart Giveaway. Your chance to win a sterling silver necklace and pendant from Goss & Son Jewelers on this special Valentine's Day. All you got to do is call in and say you want to be registered, and you'll be registered. 622-9622. Earlier this week, David Moulton joined the show from 993 FM down in Fort Myers, Naples area. Miller and Moulton radio broadcast. And David Moulton's a very intelligent guy who is connected with the SEC because he travels to all the big games, the game of the week, the 3:30 SEC games for football. And Buddy and I were talking right before David came on about prejudice and how a lot of people think Gary Danielson, who is the color analyst, along with Vern Lundquist, who does play-by-play, we're talking about how Gary Danielson sometimes gets, says he's biased against one team or another. Well, David Moulton, who has intimate knowledge of Gary Danielson and his bias or non-bias or his demeanor in general in the booth, joined us, and Buddy asked David about that, amongst other things. Plus, we talked recruiting with David Moulton. This is one of those interviews. We played a snippet of this interview in Southern Pigskin tonight, about 5 minutes worth, but this is 16 minutes. And David Moulton, one of the most knowledgeable sports guys I know. And every time he joins us, he brings something good to the show. And I just thought I should replay it for you here this morning in its entirety. Instead of just a 5-minute snippet, just go ahead and get all of David Moulton. So here's what David Moulton had to say with Buddy Martin earlier this week when he joined the Voice of Ocala Buddy Sports Page.
Buddy, how are you?
I'm really good. And I was just talking to Tom about this when we came on the air about everybody's got stories about their childhood. And what annoys me sometimes is that there are people on national television and people on national talk shows, and that's fine, who say, well, I'll tell you back when I was a boy what it was like, And I'm thinking, boyhood stories are interesting, but everybody thinks their time growing up was the most interesting. So when you grew up, who did you watch? I know a lot of people watch Terry Bradshaw and the Steelers, and I watched Eddie LeBaron and the Redskins because that's all we could get on television. What did you have growing up, David?
I'm 49, and I grew up in North Jersey, so we got New York television.
Mm-hmm.
So, first off, college football in the Northeast.
Non-existent.
There's 2 schools, Notre Dame and Penn State.
That's it. Well, Boston College occasionally, but you're right.
I was for 2 years with Flutie. I know. It was Notre Dame and Penn State.
Yeah.
And that was, for a whole region of the country. And even today, college football, I think of the top 50-plus markets in the country, the college football playoff rated the lowest in New York. It hasn't, in that sense, it hasn't changed. So, but, buddy, I got Giants and Jets games, and in the late 70s, early 80s, I got a lot of bad football.
Yes, you did. And, I think we all cling to our boyhood memories of some of the most fun times, but you're right. We saw some awful football back then. What else did we have? And speaking of college football in New York City, I'll tell you this story real quick, and you can relate to it because just what you said. I went to a seminar at Columbia University one time for sports editors, and we met with groups of people from all over the country, and we graded each other's papers. And at that time, I was a sports editor of a paper called Florida Today. Actually, it was called Today. And we had a Saturday paper, a Sunday paper, where we had the Florida-Georgia game and the World Series going at the same time. And we played the Florida-Georgia game above the World Series. And the guys who were in the Northeast said, how can you do that? Put college football over the World Series? And yes, we did. And you're right. It was far more important than anything else to us in those days. I'm talking 60s, 70s now, and it still is important, isn't it?
But it's funny you ask about things I remember growing up. Being in the Northeast, Jim Lampley, I remember him doing halftime of Keith Jackson's 3:30 game on Saturday. And Lampley from the studio told me what the food was in the Auburn press box for every home game. And it was all kinds of food that, now I'm quite familiar with. But as a, teen in Jersey, I'm like, Wow. Where can I get me some of that? That sounds great.
Yes, and you've had the food in the press box all over the SEC. I was saying earlier that here's a guy who, enough that you got a talk show in the afternoon every day, Miller and Moulton on 99.3, and that you also now write a column for the news press. And then also you call college basketball games, but you also get on an airplane and go to the biggest CBS football game every Saturday. That's pretty cool. And so tell me, who has the best press box food in the SEC?
Oh, wow. Well, damn. Of all the things you've asked me, this might be the first time you've got me flummoxed. Wow. Probably Ole Miss.
Okay. So Southern cooking.
Yes, and a lot of it, and phenomenal desserts, and they bring it right to the booth. And yes, I would have to go Ole Miss.
Interesting choice. And there's when I grew up, unfortunately, covering the games, we got hot dogs. That's what we had for halftime.
Oh well, please, we still get them, and having worked with Vern, I mean, I've joked with Vern if he ever writes a book, he's one of the suggested titles is 2 hot dogs at halftime.
I like that. We talked about your friend Gary Danielson, and in past years, I used to have him on the show once in a while. And I told Tom that I think Danielson is one of the more astute observers of the game. And Tom's response was, well, yeah, he probably is, but a lot of people think he was prejudiced against the Gators or prejudiced, and that's one of the downfalls. That's the Achilles heels of fans. They all are paranoid who think you're against their team. Take all that out of it and talk about a guy calling the game as he sees it, and a guy who does his homework. I think probably Danielson might be the most underrated broadcaster in sports television.
Well, I mean, I can't talk about this unbiasedly because, not only do I work with him, but, we're very good friends. But I will say, and I've noticed it, if you're a broadcaster that will occasionally say something negative, people will not have nearly as good of an impression about you as they will about the broadcaster who is never negative. Kirk Herbstreit is very good at what he does. Kirk is very rarely pointed negatively. All right? Even if he is criticizing it, he will do it in a softer way than the way Gary would criticize the same play call or officials call or what have you. And that is why I think opinions of broadcasters whose style is like Gary's. Collinsworth has a similar style in which their criticism can sometimes be more pointed. The fan will remember one pointed criticism of their team, and especially college football fans. That's it. It's ball game over after that. Oh, he's biased against so-and-so, which, believe me, the one thing I know Gary is not is Gary could care less who wins. You've been in it, buddy. We hope for a good game in the fourth quarter. After that, they really could care less.
Yeah,
but fans don't believe that, and then that's what makes college football, as passionate as it is. But I think it's because the broadcaster who will occasionally get pointed with their criticism, those are the ones that have the highest negatives. Instead of fans going, wow, they really call it as they see them, eventually it comes around to calling it as they see it about their team. They don't like that.
College football fans are unforgiving, and they hold grudges, whether it's a coach, whether it's a broadcaster. We see that. We've seen it in Urban Meyer, the people who castigate him to this day. We're seeing it now in Will Muschamp. Gator fans think there was some kind of conspiracy about Muschamp recruiting players to Auburn. He recruited at Florida. That's been a big story, as you know. And they just don't forget. And they think that Muschamp should have been limited about recruiting players, and that he recruited at Florida. But the rule and the deal is that Muschamp had a rule in his contract, apparently. He could recruit people that had his school had previously had contact, which Auburn had. So that was part of the contractual deal. And Jeremy Fuller came out this week and said, hey, He's got a job to do, and let the man work. That's what he does. So what's your take on the whole thing about Muschamp to Auburn, and then, of course, the recruiting day and National Signing Day and all the hubbub and what have you about Auburn and Muschamp taking the players, et cetera? What's your take on that?
All right, twofold. First off, you can't be screaming from the hilltops, throw the bum out, get rid of the bum, we need a different guy, and then get mad at whatever the bum does once you've thrown him out. I'm sorry. Secondly, for the most part, he took a couple of defensive players away from him. You know, and if he took some offensive players away from you, which I don't know that he did, maybe one, you should laugh and go, well, Will wasn't very good at picking offensive players in his 4 years. So I would, you know, you lost a couple of guys. It's not the end of the world. And I really don't see how you can. I thought what Jeremy said was very reasonable. Like, listen, we told him we didn't want his services anymore. We paid him to go away. I don't, you know, I mean, can you prevent the man from working? I mean, buddy, you and I are in an industry in which they have non-compete clauses, but you know how that works in coaching. The only part of it that gets negotiated is, you know, hey, I owe you $5 million. Now, if you accept the job that's $2 million, then I only owe you $3 million. That's the only part that gets negotiated. They can't prevent you from working. This is America, after all. So, you know, listen, recruiting is messy. It's ugly. You don't want to see how the hot dogs and the sausage are made. And this was one of those instances. I'm fine with it.
Exactly. It is ugly, and a lot of people are concerned about what is happening, as they always are in recruiting. And I'll tell you what I'm in favor of. This is crazy, but bear with me for a second. I get that the kids are upset when they're recruited by assistant coaches who then disappear the next day. Everybody knew they were going, and yet they didn't admit it. And that's what caused the whole thing with C.C. Jefferson, obviously, which was a bit of a fiasco, if you ask me. But there are two things here. One is that there should be some responsibility on the universities to come clean and admit that these guys are going to be going on to another job. And I would say have a letter of intent both ways. If they're being recruited by somebody, say, sign a letter of intent saying you're going to be here. I think that's a fair thing to do. What do you think?
You're not signing. You're signing to the University of Florida. You're not signing to a running backs coach. I don't think you can go that far. I've always been in favor of, if I sign a letter in February, or we have an early signing period, say, and I sign, and then the head coach gets fired before I ever step foot on campus, I've always been in favor of the athlete having the right to raise their hand and go, can I go somewhere else? Because I kind of went there because he's the coach. But I don't think you can ever take it below the coach. I also think, buddy, if we had an early signing period, a lot of this stuff would go away.
Well, if I'm one of the kids, I'm not going to sign on National Signing Day.
Well, I'm totally with you. If you're a top 300 kid, I would sit tight for 48 hours. Absolutely. Wait to see if the people who recruited me are still going to be there. I do think, though, this year, I mean, come on, buddy, you and I pay a little bit of attention to this. I don't remember nearly as many position coaches not only leaving within 24 hours of signing day, but a lot of them left to go to the NFL. There's a lot more college coaches hired to work on Sunday staffs than I can recall, and particularly Sunday staffs that didn't have college head coaches. So I do think a little bit of this was an anomaly. I do think if we had an early signing period, we wouldn't have to re-recruit these kids for months. These kids could commit. Heck, in C.C. Jefferson's case, he might have already been enrolled. It wouldn't have mattered.
Speaking of landscapes changing, guess how many defensive coordinators changed in the SEC this year?
Let's see, 14 teams, 4.
How about 9?
Whoa.
Unbelievable. Now, that includes some head coaches like in Vanderbilt taking over the defensive coordinator. This also includes John Hoke, who was added to the staff as a co-defensive coordinator at South Carolina. But 9 of these things. Now, that tells me something. That tells me, A, there's a lot of head coaches concerned about their defense. And B, when you look at Will Muschamp's salary, which, by the way, is closer to $2 million, that the new rock stars of the SEC are defensive coordinators.
Which is ironic because what held the SEC back last year was offense and the lack of quarterback play and the lack of production offensively. But yes, all the change at the defensive coordinator's position, and some of it was because guys got fired, and they had to be. But when Chavis left LSU, I have to admit that was the biggest shocker to me.
It was
because. First off, he's got great facilities, going to have great talent to work with, and he's making 7 figures. So when you get up and you leave, if I was an LSU fan, that could be a warning shot that maybe all is not well in Baton Rouge.
That's what it told me. He didn't like the offense too much, and obviously he and Miles didn't see eye to eye.
Yeah, and considering the talent that Les gives, John to work with, that's pretty interesting because he ended up at A&M, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and I mean, we've all seen the talent on the defensive side of the ball that Mark Snyder had to work with the last 2 years. Yeah, that's not what John Chavis has had to work with here recently. It's a little lower class of player than what John Chavis has had.
Absolutely. David Moulton from 99.3 in Southwest Florida, Miller & Moulton, is our guest. Couple more questions, David. One of them is the College Football Playoff Selection Committee wound up okay, although there was egg on their face, obviously. But now we have another change to that landscape, and then Kirby Hocutt from Texas Tech has joined the group. Think back to what Art Browse said after the perceived snub of Baylor and TCU. Not enough people know about Texas football in that committee. Do you think that had any influence whatsoever in Hocutt becoming a member, taking Oliver Luck's place to be on the selection committee?
No, I just think it was one Big 12 guy replacing another Big 12 so that they kept the conference alignment the same. Just like if Archie doesn't come back, I think it'll be an SEC guy that gets put on it. Listen, to TCU and Baylor, no offense, after how this thing played out, you don't have an argument. I mean, the team that you said you should have been in place of lined up and whacked the top 2 teams in the country. I mean, so it sure looked like the committee, once again, we kind of got a little bit of a, look into how the sausage is made, and it wasn't necessarily pretty. And I hated how they rigged all the rankings from week to week, and I didn't think that any of that was necessary. But it's tough to argue with the Final Four.
All right, final one. Ed Sable passed, 98 years old, the father of NFL Films. His son passed away a couple of years ago. And for people who don't know what NFL Films were and what they contributed, give me a 30-second explanation of what you got out of NFL Films.
Well, Steve Sable said that the only other thing in American society that has ever been captured on film more than the NFL was World War II. And I think NFL Films was as responsible, if not more so, than the product for making the NFL the number one sport in this country over baseball. Because NFL caught up with baseball by the mid to late 80s, and I don't think it does it without NFL Films. My favorite show growing up as a kid, it aired Saturday nights in New York on Channel 11. Pat Summerall, Tom Brookshire, 1 hour. This is the NFL.
That was good stuff. As it always is with you as well, David. Thanks so much, buddy. Take care, and catch up to you on the other side.
Buddy, be good.
That was David Moulton of 993 FM down in Fort Myers, Naples, Florida area. I thought he was spot on with the critique of what people say about Gary Danielson as opposed to, say, Kirk Herbstreit. And I think he's right about Chris Collinsworth. They make pointed comments. They make objective comments, but when it's an objective comment that you don't like as a fan, you think it's a biased comment. I fall victim to it myself, as all fans do. Remember, fan is short for fanatic. So these things happen. They're going to continue to happen, and Gary Danielson does a great job. But at times he gets blamed for being biased. He's not biased, but he gets blamed for being biased. And David Moulton, who knows him intimately and knows much more about Danielson than we'll ever know, says that there's nobody who cares less about who wins. All they care about is they get a good fourth quarter. So coming up next, I'll tell you what Billy Horschel did that really got his caddy happy. And could freshmen be denied the ability to play in college? I'll tell you about that, all that next, right here on the Saturday Sports Page, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. We're live and local, The Source.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And so is State Farm agent Angie Lewis, working hard to serve her community as a citizen and insurance agent. Angie wants to help you as you adjust your insurance needs to your life. From everything to helping educate your teen driver to protecting your family against everyday risk. She wants to change the way you perceive insurance by developing relationships with her clients, which is why Angie and her staff are proud to be a part of so many good causes in Ocala. In turn, she has chosen to single out those who step up as leaders. Each month on the Voice of Ocala, Angie spotlights a good neighbor, saluting those who give exceptional service or do random acts of kindness to others. For this, Angie was written up in State Farm's National Magazine. Angie also supports local businesses with a regular Biz Buzz.
Hi, I'm State Farm agent Angie Lewis. Come see me and my team for all your insurance and financial needs in the beautiful downtown historic district, 416 East Fort King Street, or call 291-2444.
Hi, this is Buddy Martin. If you have an award or a trophy in your house, there's more than a good chance it came from BJ Trophies Gifts and Awards. At BJ Trophies, Floyd Hirschberger and his staff have a lot more than just trophies. Among the items they specialize in are donor recognition walls and trees, personalized or engraved gifts, cast bronze dedication plaques, wide format digital printing with posters, banners, and signs, and promotional products. Floyd is the official trophy and awards maker for the Voice of Ocala radio show and is North Central Florida's leader in custom recognition programs, corporate awards, industrial engraving, unique gifts, and advertising specialties. When Angie Lewis went shopping for something to award to the winners of her State Farm Good Neighbor Award, she shopped first at BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Check them out at 1735 Northeast Jacksonville Road on North Magnolia's Miracle Mile, or call them today at 352-732-2249. BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Trophies is just our middle name.
Hello, I'm Dawn Lovell, lead event designer and owner at Party Time Rentals. Have you ever wondered what it takes to make an event spectacular? Well, look no further. It's what we do every day, whether you're hosting an intimate dinner for 10 or a gala for thousands. At Party Time Rentals, we find just the right style and elegance to make your event a success. Our extensive inventory of the finest in chandeliers, tents, crystal, china, and specialty items is featured in our fabulous showroom. Stop by and say hello. It's a great way to get ideas for an event and experience for yourself how you can make your party time special.
Party Time Rentals, located on Southwest 10th Street, just off Route 200 in Ocala, and off Southwest 34th Street in Gainesville. For more information, call 352-629-8858. That's 352-629-8858. The party begins at Party Time.
Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Page. I came across this article on Yahoo Sports. It's written by Nick Bromberg, and it got me thinking that this could be the answer to the one and done. The article reads in part, freshmen have been eligible to play in the NCAA sport since 1972. Before 1972, if you were a freshman, you could not compete. You were redshirted automatically. You had to sit out. You were not allowed to play sports as a freshman until 1972. That rule could change again, barring freshmen from participating in varsity-level sports. It is a possible consideration according to CBS Sports. As NCAA reforms start to happen following the vote to give the Power 5 conferences greater power to set rules and structure, the Pac-12 sent the following suggestion to fellow Power 5 conferences. Now, this is the Pac-12 sent this suggestion to the other Power 5. Address the one-and-done phenomenon in men's basketball. If the NBA and its Players Association are unable to agree on raising the age limit for players, consider restoring the freshman ineligibility rule in men's basketball. Yeah, I know it specifically addresses basketball, but the CBS report raises this important question. There are many unanswered questions, of course. Would scholarships have to be added and increase cost? Would all freshmen have to sit, or only those who do not reach an academic benchmark? Would this only be for basketball or for other sports as well? Would athletic skills become rusty without competition? Is the idea only to become prepared athletes academically, or is it also to integrate them socially? Does freshman ineligibility even accomplish one or both of those goals? Could this idea help repair the widening cracks in the NCAA's model, which is being threatened by many sides? That brings up an interesting question. Can you do this just for basketball? Because couldn't then you open yourself up to a lawsuit where they're like, why are you discriminating us against us as basketball players? Why does a swimmer get to go? Why can a golfer play as a freshman? Why can football players play as a freshman? I know they're trying to circumvent the one-and-done rule, and the one-and-done rule has hurt college basketball, in my opinion. We used to be invested in the game of college basketball. People are no longer invested in college basketball. Jerry Tarkanian passing this week reminded me of that. Remember that guy, Greg Anthony? You had Larry Johnson, Grandmama. You know, you knew those running rebels. You knew Christian Laettner. You knew Bobby Hurley. You knew James Worthy. You knew Michael Jordan. You knew Eric Montross. You knew all these players before the one-and-done rule. College basketball players stayed 2, 3, 4 years. I challenge you, and I know, you know, because they stayed a couple more years. Tell me the one and dones besides John Wall, the year John Wall came out. You can't. Tell me the top 3 one and dones 3 years ago. Most people can't, because we're not invested in them. We don't care who the one and dones were. We really don't. College basketball, Patrick Ewing used to wait to see Patrick Ewing. You don't go to see college basketball players now because they're one and done. You have no investment in college basketball now. You used to go see. Patrick Ewing stayed 4 years. You got to where you loved Patrick Ewing. You watched Georgetown basketball because of Ewing. Georgetown basketball, who's on their team now? Nobody knows because it doesn't matter. One and dones have ruined the game of college basketball, in my opinion. Either don't come in the league, go at 18 right to the NBA, and if you don't get drafted, you made a bad decision. Live with that decision, or go to the D League, or go play in Europe, or wherever it is you got to go play. Or institute the same rule in basketball they have in football where you're not eligible, and in baseball where you're not eligible until after your 3rd year. Once you make the decision to go to college, you have to stick with that decision for 3 years of eligibility. 3 out of 5 years. And I know people say, well, a golfer can leave college and turn pro. Well, not a whole lot of people worried about the game of golf in college, let's be honest, okay? You're comparing apples to oranges. People say, a tennis player can quit their tennis college team and go right to the pro ranks. Tennis and basketball aren't the same. Tennis and football aren't the same. I think that this is something, and the Power 5 conferences will have the power to change this rule. If they want to, they will institute this rule about ineligibility of freshmen. But why would they do that? Why don't they just institute a rule that you can't go play until you've reached 3 years eligibility. They say, well, the pro leagues have to institute that rule. Well, now the pro leagues can draft them. You can just make it part of the scholarship. Instead of making scholarships 1 year at a time, make a scholarship a 4-year binding agreement. Something has to be done to save the integrity of college basketball. And the one and dones have eroded the integrity of college basketball. Kentucky is the best team in the country right now. That's the only reason you know the names of their one and done guys. Let guys go. Let guys make decisions. 18, if they've been coddled by their AAU coaches and told how great they are and everything, and you don't have to go to college, you don't need that education, you can go right to the NBA. Let them go to the NBA. They fall flat on their face. Oops, sorry, you got some bad advice. Sorry about your luck. Welcome to the real world. The world is full of bad advice, and you got some, and now you're going to have to recover from it. Oh, I'm only 18. Yeah, whatever. I know a lot of 18-year-olds that aren't basketball gifted to get bad advice that end up in prison. They got bad advice. They have to deal with the consequences of that bad advice. If you're a basketball player and you get bad advice and say you want to go to the NBA and then you don't make it, you got bad advice. Sorry about your luck. Move on. Coaches, AAU coaches and high school coaches, and a lot of high school coaches in this area do. But AAU coaches, because they're worried about their their shoe contracts and everything, they're just trying to win. Any coach worth his weight will tell a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid to go get his education. LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, they're 1 in 100,000 kids. Any coach worth his weight will tell a kid, go get your education. Go to college. Don't think you're going to the NBA at 18. Go to college. Get an education. The NBA will be there after college. But no, these coaches give out bad advice. You need to go try the NBA because I need to get some of that money you're making. It's ridiculous what some of these people do, and it's going to take the NCAA or the Power 5 conferences or whoever's in charge to change eligibility rules before anything's done about the one and done rule. Because let's be honest, if you're a true one and done player, if you're truly a player who's only going to college because the rules say you have to for 1 year, you go to class the first semester, you do the bare minimum to pass the first semester just so you're eligible for January through April basketball, and then you just tank the rest of it because you don't care, you're going to the NBA next year. That's fraud. You're being a fraud when you do that. You are perpetrating a fraud on the university that you're attending. So why have the rule? Why are we promoting fraud in college basketball? I don't understand. Maybe I'm not smart enough to understand, but we are promoting fraud in college basketball by supporting this one and done rule. Because a kid comes in, all he has to do is stay academically eligible. That means go to class in August, September, October, November, and a little bit in December, make good grades, pass, get into the next semester, and then tank, because by the time the grades come out for that semester, basketball season's over and you're gone anyway. You weren't there for school, you were there to play basketball. And to say you were there to take classes is fraudulent. And it's about time somebody said it's fraud, because that's exactly what it is. Fraud. I hope the Power 5 conferences set some rule like this. And I don't know that you got to set the freshmen are ineligible to play, but make a time limit on how long kids have to stay. And the NBA and the NBA Players Association, shame on you for thinking that this is the one who does good rule. Let's look at Kyrie Irving, 4th year in the league. Now all of a sudden he's looking like he's a pretty good basketball player. We knew he had the talent, but now he's actually showing it on an NBA level. Sure, he was good the first 3 years, but now he's NBA good. Well, he would be a senior in college right now. John Wall, his first 3-4 years in the league, yeah, it was average. He was an average basketball player. John Wall is one of the best point guards in the game now. John Wall is one of the best guards playing in the NBA. If he would went to college the whole time, he'd be 2 years removed from college. So you're not getting true NBA star production out of what these you figure NBA stars until 3 or 4 years into their career, the same time as if they developed in college. So you're not getting any true immediate success out of them that's leading you to the promised land. So why do it? I don't get it. I know, well, the kids, these kids come from bad situations. They need their money as quick as they can get it. Maybe if they were more mature when they got their money, they wouldn't be broke at alarming rates when they get out of the league. You ever think of that? NBA players, ex-NBA players are broke at an alarming rate after they get out of the league. All professional athletes are. And maybe if you didn't let them in the league till they had a little more maturity on them, that wouldn't happen. It would still happen some, but maybe it wouldn't happen quite as often. It's just my opinion. We'll take a break. When we come back, I'll tell you what Billy Horschel did for his caddy that really shocked his caddy. Ray Rice, he's apologized. And the Daytona 500's coming up. If you'd like tickets to that race, we're giving away right here on WOCA. So let's go racing. 622-9622 gets you entered into that competition. 622-9622 if you want to enter into a chance to win tickets to the Daytona 500 brought to you by WOCA. And I'll tell you about 2 times in NASCAR since 1979 that the whole world remembers. Wrapping up this hour, the Saturday Sports Page, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. We're live and local. The Source.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Goss & Son Jewelers has a gift for you, celebrating 65 years in business in beautiful downtown Ocala. Surprise them with a Tag Heuer or Rolex watch, or surprise her with beautiful pearls, rubies, or sapphires. Enjoy a sweet Valentine's Day weekend, courtesy of Goss, in downtown Ocala since 1950.
Right on the southwestern corner of the square sits one of the finest dining establishments in Florida, Mark's Prime Steakhouse and Seafood Restaurant. Mark's offers big city dining amenities in a charming and small town setting. It's a rare treat to experience both the ambiance and the exquisite cuisine in a friendly atmosphere. Ocala's finest restaurant serves the finest beef, the freshest seafood, premium wines, and naturally fresh vegetables. From valet parking to splendid service, Mark's offers the complete package. Check it out today. Mark's Prime Seafood and Steakhouse Restaurant.
Let's give it up for old asphalt and a new pair of shoes. Let's give it up for a good rhythm meeting a sweet melody. For a church cookout under clear skies. Let's give it up for good things coming together, like bundling your auto and other policies together with an Allstate agent, which can save you time and keep you better protected. Let's give it up for good.
To receive your comparative insurance quote, contact the McDonald Agency at 622-2333.
Located next door to Silver Spring State Park and a few minutes from historic downtown Ocala, our award-winning Holiday Inn Express Hotel and Suites of Silver Springs is the place to stay for a friendly, memorable, and fun experience. Enjoy our fast and free Wi-Fi, complimentary hot breakfast, and free parking. Whether you're in town for work or play, our friendly staff will make you feel right at home. That's the Holiday Inn Express and Suites of Silver Springs.
Proud sponsor of College of Central Florida basketball on WOCA The Source.
The next drink is on Dave Del Rio at Eaton's Beach Sandbar and Grill. Just ask him for it. But don't wait. Show up soon because this offer isn't going to last very long. Eaton's Beach Sandbar and Grill will be filling up fast because their friends from the north are headed back that way soon. The good news is that seating is now available and Dave's buying the first drink. If you've been hearing about the crowd at Eaton's Beach Sandbar and Grill and couldn't get in, now you can see firsthand what your friends have been talking about. Great food. Try Chef Dave's tantalizing Floresiana menu. Great location. Check out those gorgeous sunsets over Lake Weir. Great people. Starting with Chef Dave Del Rio, who began his career in 1978. This spicy guy has been instrumental in opening over 100 restaurants. And he's buying you a drink. Eaton's Beach Sandbar and Grill, where there's little or no waiting these days. Come see what started out as Jay Eaton's dream almost 90 years ago. It's more awesome than ever.
Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Page. Let's go now and go ahead and do the drawing to win. See who wins the sterling silver necklace from Goss & Son Jewelers. Let me reach into the Florida Gator hat. I got it right here on the internet. You'll see the drawing happen right here on the internet. Reach into the hat. Ted Norris, you're the winner. Ted Norris, you won. So I'll be giving you a call telling you how you can go collect your necklace. Congratulations to Ted Norris, the winner of the Goss & Son sterling silver heart necklace. I'll be contacting you directly after the show to tell you how you can pick it up. Congratulations to Ted Norris, the winner of the Goss & Son heart giveaway, Valentine's Day heart giveaway. Got to put my hat back on now. I had to use my hat to do the drawing. Billy Horschel, as we know, former Gator golfer, he was the PGA Tour winner of the FedEx Cup and the $10 million check that comes with it. And the question was, how much would he give his caddy? Well, it's customary to give your caddy 10% of your haul, but that's the norm for tournaments. But that wasn't the norm for the season-ending $10 million FedEx Cup. So when Billy won the tour championship and the FedEx Cup, his caddy Micah Fugit wasn't sure how much he'd be rewarded. Well, Horschel paid Fugit just like it was a standard win on tour, 10%, making Fugit an instant millionaire. According to a report by Golf Week's Jim McCabe, what Fugit feel when Horschel told him the good news? Shock, happiness, joy. You have such a wide range of emotions. You never understand $1 million until it's yours. So Billy Horschel, standard rate for a caddy on a winning looper on a winning bag is 10%. Billy Horschel won $10 million, gave 10% to his caddy, $1 million. Makes you want to go pick up a golf bag and start learning how to caddy. Billy Horschel paid his caddy $1 million for carrying his golf bag during last year's FedEx Cup Championship. Ray Rice came out, issued a public apology in the Baltimore Sun. This is not a farewell or goodbye. The last 7 years that my family and I spent in Baltimore have been far by the best of our lives. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you for all the love and support you've shown. And throughout my football career, we'll always be grateful for the love we received and winning a Super Bowl. To all the kids who looked up to me, I'm truly sorry for letting you down, and I apologize for the horrible mistake I made. I hope you can find in your heart to forgive me. Thank you, Baltimore Ravens, for all you have done for my family. I'm very grateful. I love you all very much, and I'll always be proud to say I was a Baltimore Raven. So Ray Rice apologizing, trying to redeem his reputation so that he can be picked up by an NFL team. I believe wholeheartedly Ray Rice is going to be signed by somebody. Fox Sports 1 is doing a great expose on the Daytona 500. 57 years, Daytona 500. There's two of them, they say, that are the most memorable. Of course, 1979, Richard Petty wins after Bobby Allison and Cale Yarborough spin each other out. Nobody remembers Richard Petty won. No, all they remember is Bobby Allison and Cale Yarborough and Bobby's brother fighting down in the back on the back straightaway, as it was called, live on CBS. CBS showed the race live. There was a snowstorm in the Northeast, so everybody was socked in. The only thing on TV that day was the race live. So it got a national audience, and it got a fist fight at the end of the race as Richard Petty won it. And it slung NASCAR into national prominence. It was the race that catapulted NASCAR into the conversation nationally. And then there was 2012. I was at the race in 2012 on a Sunday, sitting in the nasty, cold rain when NASCAR said, nope, we're not going to run it today. We're going to run it tomorrow night in prime time, Monday night prime time. I, of course, had to come back to Ocala because I had a radio show to do, so I wasn't able to stay for the Monday night. But we all watched it on TV. The most watched NASCAR race in the history of NASCAR. Who won the race that night? Danica Patrick's first Daytona 500. Who won the race, though? You know, Jimmy Johnson and Danica Patrick wrecked on the first lap. But do you know Matt Kenseth won that race? No. You don't remember Matt Kenseth won that race. But you do remember that Juan Pablo Montoya ran into a jet dryer and blew up a jet dryer on the track and created a fireball that delayed the race more than 2.5 hours. And those two races, Fox Sports are saying, are the two most recognizable Daytona 500s in the history of the 57 years of what was a regional sport until 1979 and is now a national sport. But in 2012, we don't remember that Matt Kenseth won the race. We just remember that Juan Pablo Montoya hit a jet dryer and blew it up. Coming up, the Daytona 500 next weekend. Winning tickets here available at WOCA. We'll give away all next week. Thanks for listening to the Saturday Sports Page. I'm Tom Schmidt saying have a great Valentine's Day, everybody. Hello, I'm Tom Schmitz, here to tell you about Okus, a great resource for any business and a proud partner of the CEP. Okus offers your business